beautiful people. I'm May, and I just talk about the things I like. We are at the 4th part of this 6-part series. In this video, we are focusing on Kagami Tsurugi and Luka Couffaine. Keeping up with the same patterns as the last 2 redesign videos, which you should watch if you have not yet, I watched episodes that focus on the 2 characters, and boy did these episodes hurt. In the comments section in my last video, there was a lot of discussion regarding Marinette and Adrian. One of the key points that were mentioned is that the writers tell you that Marinette and Adrian are meant for each other, but on the other hand, they cannot be together. So what do the writers do? They add Luka and Kagami to the show. Their purpose is to help Marinette and Adrian realize they are in love with each other. Okay, cool. But the writers did an oopsie on that one. They made Luka and Kagami compatible partners for our main characters. Luka is a calm and understanding partner for Marinette, and Kagami is the risk taker and affectionate partner for Adrian. In my humble opinion, these pairings are better than whatever we got going on with Marinette and Adrian. Both of these relationships were handled differently. I would say Adrian and Kagami's relationship was dealt with a little bit better than Marinette and Luka's. However, both relationships were messy and barely had any time to develop properly before each breakup. But more on that later. It is time to show the redesigns. Before we do that, be sure to follow my Instagram. I usually post sneak peeks on there as well as the art for my videos. The link will be in the description. Without further ado, let us start with Kagami Tsurugi's redesign. Kagami is my second favorite character in this series. Sorry Milan, you are now number 3. I love Kagami's character so much. She is not perfect by all means and has her flaws, but I think she is one of the characters that was written pretty well in the series. Kagami is very bold and confident. She doesn't second guess herself and takes pride in the things she does, which makes me respect her character. But there were times when we got to see a vulnerable side to her. An example would be her relationship with Adrian. Kagami's relationship with Adrian showed the times when she was very kind, loving, and having a good time. It also showed that she was willing to take risks just to spend quality time with Adrian. But what hurts about the whole relationship is that it was one-sided the entire time. Kagami was the one that put so much effort into the relationship, and Adrian did not try at all. Yes, he hung out with her, but it never seemed like he was interested in her romantically and he just played along. The best way I can describe Kagami's and Adrian's relationship is by comparing them to the main couple of the animated film, The Corpse Bride by Tim Burton. If you are not familiar with this movie, I highly recommend watching it, but if you don't care to watch it, I'll give a mediocre summary. In the movie, Victor and Victoria are engaged to be married. The only time the two meet is at their wedding rehearsal, which does not go well. Since the rehearsal was a disaster, Victor walks to a forest to practice his vows. Needless to say, he accidentally wedded a corpse bride named Emily, who takes Victor to the underworld to live their new life. For the rest of the movie, Victor is trying to get back to Victoria and marry the love of his life, which he does in the end. So the protagonist succeeds in his goal. What's the deal? The problem is that he had so much chemistry with Emily and didn't give her a chance until Victoria married someone else. But Victor gets a pass on this because he was trapped in this relationship and was engaged to be married to Victoria previously. How this relates to Kagami and Adrian is simply showing which character is whom in this situation. In this scenario, Kagami is Emily / the corpse bride, Adrian is Victor, and Ladybug is Victoria. If you take Adrian and Kagami's relationship and compare it to Victor and Emily's relationship, you would see a lot of similarities. Both Kagami and Emily were stuck in one-sided relationships and had chemistry with their partners compared to their partners' other love interests. And Victor and Adrian were actively pursuing another character despite being in a relationship. Emily and Kagami were also the other women if you want to add salt to the wound. The point that I am trying to express is that Adrian was not in love with Kagami. He constantly pursued Ladybug despite being with Kagami. At first he decided to give Kagami a chance since he wanted to get over Ladybug, but he did not do that. I mean, Lies is a clear picture of this. At first, Adrian is leaving Kagami to go spend time with Ladybug or to fight Akumatai's villains. I get that, that's his job. But then Kagami expressed doubt about their relationship only for it to be pushed to the side. And right before he was about to meet Kagami at Prince Ali's party or whatever, he fights Truth with Ladybug, then he detransforms in an alley and starts gushing over Ladybug, not even considering that he is in a relationship. So when Kagami felt hurt that Adrian was avoiding her and the sacrifices that she made to spend time with him were basically for nothing, I was 100% on her side when she was angry. Now, I don't condone her purposefully hurting Adrian when they were sparring toward the end of the episode, but I can't blame her for doing so. Kagami was hurt in this situation, and to know that the person she loved did not feel the same way is crushing. All I can say is that Kagami was an absolute boss for breaking up with Adrian. She handled it with class and left no crumbs. I was rooting for her that entire episode. Even though the breakup was handled well, I still feel bad that the relationship was not. I wish Adrian truly gave Kagami a chance and left his obsession with Ladybug alone. The two could have learned so much from each other in their relationship and also grown as individuals. The relationship barely had a chance to flourish before the breakup, and I feel like Kagami was the only one that learned something from this relationship. Adrian just seemed sad that he lied to Kagami and then turned around and said, "Well, me and Ladybug can always trust each other." What? Are you serious? That's what you took from this, Adrian? Not, don't lie to your partner? Don't get with someone when you like someone else? Get this boy out of here. I already lost so much respect for his character. Another thing I want to briefly mention is my frustration with Kagami helping Marinette get with Adrian. Why would you do that, Kagami? I understand your pure heart, but Adrian didn't treat you right. Why aren't you convinced that he would treat Marinette right? I mean, props to her for still uplifting Adrian despite everything that happened. But Kagami, you are a queen. Pay the peasant no mind. For Kagami's redesign, I wanted to do what the Miraculous writers were afraid to do. Make Kagami pretty. I feel like with both Luka and Kagami, the creators wanted them to look unattractive compared to their love rivals, which is a cheap move, but okay, I guess. The outfit that Kagami wears was something I found on Pinterest. The pencil skirt, dress shirt, and sweater vest combo gives Kagami a look that says she's beautiful, she's scholarly, and she's modest, which is exactly the vibe I was going for with her character. I decided to keep Kagami's original color scheme to pull it all together. Usually, I play around with different colors for my redesigns to make the character stand out a bit, but I could not get rid of Kagami's color scheme because red, black, and white are her colors. I love Kagami's color scheme, and I think it fits her perfectly. Before wrapping this up, there were two things to her concept that I added last minute, and unfortunately it did not make it to the time lapse, so I'm going to put them on the screen for now. The first thing I forgot to add in the original time lapse was Kagami's freckles, which are prominent in her original concept, and I am disappointed I almost forgot to add it. The second thing I forgot was Kagami's family crest. Now, I did change it a bit. In the Miraculous wiki, the character used for the crest is female in kanji. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but feel free to correct me. Which is interesting to me, but I see Kagami's family as a line of sword fighters that would include both men and women. So I decided to change it to the kanji of Tsurugi. Based on my understanding, the kanji changes depending on the meaning of the word, so I went with the one the Miraculous wiki uses, though I'm not sure if that is correct. Kagami has a pretty solid backstory in the show, but I wanted to do my own little spin on it, like I do with all the others, but this is what I came up with. Kagami Tsurugi was born and raised in Japan, living with her mother, Tomoe Tsurugi, a fencing world champion. Kagami lived a happy life. At the age of 8, her mother would start training her in kendo sword combat. Kagami would develop her skills and eventually start to fence as well. Although Kagami loved both sports, it was always a mere hobby. Kagami's true love in life is art. She loved to draw and would often show her mother her works. Tomoe was not fond of her daughter being artistic, but she supported her nonetheless. Over the years, Tomoe would enter Kagami into fencing competitions and start bringing more recognition to the Tsurugi family. But things would change when Kagami turned 10 years old. Tomoe would start to lose her eyesight and would not be able to continue her fencing career. Since Tomoe could no longer personally train with her daughter, she would sign her up for the best fencing classes and would hire a personal trainer that would also act as a caregiver for both her daughter and herself. The fencing classes would start to overwhelm Kagami and she would start to lose passion for the sport. It would feel more like a chore than something that holds value to her family. She would continue to draw and study art history in her free time to release that stress. Kagami would soon realize that she aspires to be an artist. At the age of 15, Kagami would research the best colleges that served exceptional art programs. She stumbles upon a university in Paris and finds a program that fits her perfectly. Kagami excitedly tells her mother about her future goals, but Tomoe was not into her decision at first. She was convinced that her daughter would not be successful in the artistic field and should focus more on her fencing career to uphold the family name. However, Kagami was very adamant about her passions. convince her mother Kagami would learn how to speak French, win art contests, and fencing matches. Eventually, her mother did come around, but was still skeptical. When it was time for Kagami to start applying to universities, she would apply to a few local colleges and the university in Paris she had her heart set on. During the last year of Kagami's high school career, she participated in a fencing tournament. At this specific event, there were scouts from different colleges. Although Kagami was unaware of this, she succeeded in this tournament flawlessly. After the event was over, Kagami would be approached by a scout from the university in Paris. The scout offered Kagami an academic scholarship and guaranteed acceptance into the university if she agreed to join their fencing team. Kagami, of course, accepted this deal wholeheartedly. She would then be accepted into the university and receive an academic and athletic scholarship. Kagami was ecstatic that her dreams were finally coming true. But before leaving for college, Kagami and her mother would make a deal. If Kagami can keep up with her classes and in the fencing team, Tomoe would send Kagami a large sum of money every month to help support her needs. If not, Kagami would have to return to Japan and continue her studies there. Kagami accepted this responsibility and left to pursue her dreams. Kagami would arrive in France and attend a different university, separate from the main cast, as an international student. She majors in art and aspires to be a famous artist with her own studio in the future. Just like Adrian, Kagami is also a star player on her school's fencing team. Kagami's personality in my rewrite is a bit different. Because she is in a new place away from her home, when you first meet Kagami, she is very reserved. It takes her a while to be used to the things that surround her, but when she is comfortable, you see her true personality. Kagami is bold, confident, observant, and competitive. She is also modest and holds her values true to her heart. I wanted to mention the differences between Marinette's and Kagami's personality in my rewrite and the show. In the series, Kagami is confident and does not hesitate with her actions. Marinette, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. Marinette is insecure and second-guesses herself. Up until season 4. Now, there is nothing wrong with having insecurities. We all have them and deal with them in different ways. But in my opinion, Marinette deals with her insecurities in a not-so-nice way. In the comment section of my last video, we got into the topic of Marinette's obsession with Adrian. Don't worry, this goes with my point. I stated my belief that Marinette's obsession with Adrian isn't out of love, but the idea of perfection. She sees Adrian as some sort of idol that can never do wrong, and I think it has a lot to do with her insecurities. Since Kagami is Marinette's love rival and is also seen as perfect, Marinette is not going to take that lightly. Marinette brought down Kagami's character multiple times in the series. In Kagami's first appearance, Ladybug was already talking about, "He doesn't deserve you, Adrian," without Kagami having feelings for Adrian at that moment. The second instance was Marinette calling Kagami the Ice Queen in Frozer, for no reason, especially since Marinette never directly talked to Kagami between Riposte and Frozer. And lastly, Marinette purposely sabotaged her friendship scavenger hunt so that Kagami wouldn't get near Adrian. Oh yeah, she also teamed up with Chloe to sabotage Kagami and Annie Maestro. Can't forget about that. Do you know what this reminds me of? I'm sure we all know the saying. If someone is making fun of you, it's because they are insecure about themselves. This is exactly what is going on with Marinette. She brought down Kagami's character so that she can look better. And I sadly believe this worked. Think about the Miraculous fandom during the quarantine. There was so much hate for Kagami and everyone glorified Marinette, going as far as to disrespect Kagami's name. Now, I'm not saying you can't dislike a character and love another, I just wanted to mention it because it helps express my point. Even Marinette befriending Kagami seems like a ploy to me. I think when Marinette found out that Kagami had no friends, she wanted to take the opportunity so that she could be above Kagami. By befriending Kagami, Marinette would be seen as a nice and caring person, when in all reality, she's not. Let me compare Zoe and Kagami real fast. Within Kagami's first appearance in Season 2, she already had a bad reputation and did not befriend Marinette until Season 3. And so far, based on what Marinette said in Season 4, Marinette is Kagami's only friend. And I believe this is true because when have we seen Kagami interact with people other than Marinette and Adrian? And Zoe, she made her first appearance in Season 4. She also had a bad start, but she was immediately forgiven and almost all of the characters befriended Zoe within one episode. Like, what? I know Zoe's purpose so far is to replace Chloe and Queen Bee, but come on, really? How did Zoe manage to get so many friends in one episode and Kagami only has Marinette? Oh wait, I know why. Anyways, that is not how I see Marinette and Kagami in my rewrite. There was one part I left out in Marinette's backstory in her video and I think it's a good time to mention it. In Marinette's backstory, I talked about how she has always been insecure, but I focused more on the insecurities in her personality. While she has overcome some of her insecurities, she still struggles with them. But the other thing she struggles with is her physical insecurities. Ladybug is her scapegoat because when she is transformed, she doesn't have to worry about her insecurities. Marinette could just be the person she craves to be. How does Kagami play into this? Instead of seeing her as a rival, Marinette looks up to Kagami in my redesign. Marinette wouldn't put her down because simply that's not the type of person she is. Marinette would find Kagami very inspiring and would want to be confident and strong just like her. Even as a love rival, Marinette would still have respect for Kagami. She would feel sad if Kagami and Adrien were laughing and having a fun time together, but I feel Marinette wouldn't want anyone else but Kagami to be with Adrien. The two are not friends, but they are acquaintances in my rewrite. 100% I would say Ryuko's design is one of my favorites throughout the series. One of the things that came to mind while designing Ryuko's costume was representing her culture somehow, and I hope I did my best on that. The first thing I wanted to do was give Ryuko a traditional but modern look. I gave Ryuko a kimono style jacket. I kept the pattern relatively the same as her original concept because I found it pretty. I also wanted the jacket to be the main focus of Ryuko's costume, so I made everything else black. With her new superhero look, I wanted to do something different regarding her disguise. The mask on Ryuko's face was unintentional, but it worked out. Ryuko was not the first superhero to have this. At first I wanted Carapace to have the face mask instead, inspired by the Lego Ninjago, but I didn't go through with it and I settled for the eye mask. I didn't want to throw away the potential of giving a hero a face mask, but I didn't know who I would give it to. But here we are because I figured that out. Giving Kagami a face mask allowed me to change her eye color matching longs and to bring attention to her eyes. I made her bottom lashes longer to bring that dramatic feeling to her eyes. I wanted to make it feel as if she was watching you at all times. Another thing I should mention is Ryuko's short hair. Originally, Ryuko was supposed to have a long ponytail that would act as a dragon tail, but the short hair looked so much better. I also added red to her hair because I thought it was really pretty and was a nice contrast to her dark blue hair. The last thing about Ryuko's design is her sword. Yep, I changed it. I don't like the sword that we got in the show. It looks like cheap plastic. It gave me an excuse to give dragon holders a dragon-themed saber. It would still work the same as any other sword. It's not childproof, but Kagami would have to be careful using it against Akubutai's victims because it will hurt someone. So Ryuko's powers work a bit differently in the show. Ryuko can use all of her elements once before she is about to de-transform. I'm changing that a little bit for my redesign. Ryuko can use her powers multiple times, but each element has a 30-minute cooldown. So she can use the wind element once and would have to wait 30 minutes to use it again, but she can use the other two elements free from that time constraint. With Kagami's and Ryuko's redesign being done, let's segue to Luka and Viperion. Oh my goodness, I have been craving to talk about Luka for so long. Luka is my #1 favorite character in the series. Luka is the cool guy that you want to befriend, but not only is he cool, he's also a sweetheart. I tend to love characters that are absolute sweethearts. They deserve the world. But I am devastated by how Marinette treated him in their relationship. Since the beginning of Luka and Marinette's relationship, the two have had great chemistry. Luka makes Marinette feel seen and gives her the attention she needs. At first it did seem like Marinette was interested in Luka, but of course they had to add Adrien to the mix and make everything complicated. But I did like the fact that Marinette was debating whether or not she liked Luka platonically or romantically. I loved how it wasn't something she immediately knew. But here's my problem with the matter. Yes, Luka was aware that Marinette liked Adrien, but he decided to be patient and wait till she was ready. But I have a strong belief that Marinette took advantage of that and started stringing Luka along. Marinette was not actively trying to decide if she liked Luka or not unless he was in the episode. She was actively trying to get with Adrien despite Kagami obviously winning that race. And Marinette, I need you to open your eyes, girl. Adrien wanted nothing to do with you. I'm sorry. Luka was right there with open arms, ready to give her that love and affection that she needed. He didn't care about the flaws she so desperately tried to hide. He loved her for herself, and Marinette could be herself around Luka. But no, she had to continue following this obsession like there was no tomorrow. Marinette, please tell me, how did you constantly choose someone who never noticed you romantically and not the person who was giving you exactly what you were asking for? It's so aggravating, are you kidding me? I also need to bring attention to the Miraculous special, Miraculous World New York. At this point, Luka and Marinette are supposed to be a couple since the special is canon to the series and possibly takes place right after the season 3 finale. Luka sends Marinette away and gives her his blessing to go and figure out her feelings for Adrien. But what did Marinette find out? That she loved Adrien. What did she do with this information? She remained in a relationship with Luka. Why did you do that, Marinette? Why? Right then and there, or at least at the beginning of truth, you should have broken up with Luka. But no, you decided to play games, broke the poor boy's heart, and then broke up with him. Has he already had enough woman? But despite all that, Luka is now trying to help Marinette get with Adrien. Just like with Kagami, all I can ask is why? Why? Luka, my boy, tell me, why are you helping her? I don't understand. But the thing I can't give Marinette credit for is that she did break up with Luka. She saw how she was hurting him and decided to end the relationship. And when she got home, she reflected on how her role as Ladybug will affect her relationships and that she should not try to get with Adrien or Luka. And I respected her for that. But then she turned around and tried to get with Adrien. Like, oh my gosh. Luka, Marinette didn't deserve you. You deserve someone better. I am done. Rant over. For Luka's redesign, I originally wanted to give him an 80s inspired outfit. But after researching styles from the 80s, turns out it was not what I was going for. But I stumbled upon this outfit on Pinterest. I can't explain what style it is, but it seems like a mix of alt and grunge, and it matched the vibe I was aiming for in Luka's design. I wanted to give Luka a mysterious but cool vibe. Luka is like the mysterious guy you see at a coffee shop. You don't know why he's there, but you definitely want to get his number and find out what he's hiding. I also added Doc Martens to his outfit because every artist has a pair, except for me, but to also add to the alt style. For his color scheme, I needed to change the blue that overtakes Luka's original concept. I don't know why, but Luka just seems too blue. I don't even think it's just Luka, I think it's just there's too much blue going on in general. Like there's Kagami, there's Marinette, like enough blue. I'm tired of it. Anyways, so I decided to use the same color scheme as the reference. I love brown on Luka. I think it enhances the mysterious vibe I was going for. I also changed his hairstyle and replaced his blue tips with a brown ombre. I debated whether or not I wanted to keep his hair blue, but it did not fit him. I also thought of the possibility of giving him purple hair so Luka and Julika would match, like a twin thing. But that didn't work out either. But I still wanted Julika and Luka to have something that signifies something they did together. So I gave Luka piercings. Luka has 2 helix piercings on his left ear, 1 lobe piercing on each ear, 1 eyebrow piercing on his left brow, and a lip piercing. Julika has some of the same piercings as well, but she does have more than Luka. So for Luka's backstory, we don't really have that much information besides Jacket Stone being his father, but I just wanted to give him a little backstory, give him more emphasis on his character, and add some spice. But anyways, this is what I came up with. For all of Luka's life, he has always lived with his twin sister Julika and his mother Anarka. Anarka was a single mom and tried her best to support her 2 kids. Although their mother did not have much money, Luka and Julika had a good childhood. Anarka would give Luka and Julika an old radio along with old tapes of her favorite songs. The 2 would listen to these songs and find passion in the creation of music. Out of the 2, Luka had a great fascination with the songs he would hear. He loved listening to the different types of music genres, but Luka loved rock music the most. Luka would eventually stumble upon the famous singer and guitarist Jacket Stone. After listening to Jacket Stone's first song, Luka was very influenced to start making music that would speak to the souls of individuals. On Luka's and Julika's 11th birthday, they both received a string instrument from their mom. Luka received an electric guitar and Julika received a bass guitar. The 2 would start to play songs together just for fun, but Luka took this opportunity to start making music with Julika. The two would start making instrumental songs and posted videos online. They would start to get traction and had a small following. At the age of 15, Julika and Luka would learn the truth about their father's whereabouts. Anarka revealed to Julika and Luka that their father is Jagged Stone. She explains to them that the two were in love, but once she was expecting, Jagged chose his music career over his newfound family. Luka, a huge fan of Jagged Stone, grew bitter when hearing the news. He would start to question how his greatest inspiration could do something so horrible. But he would take this to heart and vow not to be like his father in any way possible. During Luka's junior year of high school, Luka would meet someone he really liked and eventually started dating them. They were head over heels for each other, but the two did have problems in their relationship. Luka did try his best to make the relationship work, but he would discover that his partner had been disloyal, which caused the end of their relationship. To cope with the breakup, Luka would start creating songs with Julika. With this newfound love of making songs, Luka and Julika decided to start their own band with Rose and Ivan. In their new indie band, Kitty Section, the group would make songs and perform for their friends. They put their songs online and immediately became a hit. The band started creating albums and started playing gigs. Despite everyone in the band focusing on school or other careers, they all take time to make new songs and rehearse often. Luka takes this time to reflect on what he wants to do in the future. He realizes that he wants to help people create music in multiple ways. Luka attends a community college focusing on his associate's degree in music. He desires to be a famous musician and wants to create custom string instruments for other aspiring players. For Luka's personality, I wanted to give him a bit of an upgrade. I mean, in the show, Luka is the chill guy who rarely gets mad, unless you plagiarize his music. I like how he's cool almost 100% of the time, but I would appreciate it if he wouldn't ask someone if they wanted to hear their inner melody like he's a palm reader in every conversation he has. Still love him though. But for Luka, he is still a chill and understanding guy. He seems mysterious at first, but the more you get to know him, he can easily be vulnerable and put his trust in someone. He's prone to falling in love, but can easily be heartbroken, and he is also very expressive with his emotions. I went through a struggling phase for Viperion's concept in the time-lapse, and I'm telling you, it wasn't fun at the time. I really did struggle, but it's fine because it all worked out. At first, I decided not to change anything about the original design since I think it looks good the way it is, but I wanted to do something new and push myself to try. So the first thing on my mind, again, were the 80s, but specifically rock bands. I wanted to make Viperion look like he is a part of a metal band, so I gave him a sleeveless, full-body suit while keeping some aspects of the original costume. To keep up with the 80s theme, I gave Viperion longer hair and gave him a blue ombre effect to make his hair pop. Last thing I added was his hood. At first I wanted Viperion to have a hood like the protagonist from Assassin's Creed, but then I watched Ruby and discovered the Alvin brothers. I really like the hoods they wear, specifically the cut that exposes their shoulders, so I took inspiration from their hoods, bringing the cut down to give Viperion a dramatic stage appearance. I also turned it into a cape that resembles a snake tail. For Viperion's powers, it works the same as it does in the show, but considering the power system I made, Viperion has a 30-minute cooldown before he can use his second chance again. I also gave purpose to Viperion's lyre, since we have yet to see what it can do. Viperion has the ability to charm his target by playing his lyre, exactly what snake charmers do. The flaw of this ability is that the target has to actively listen to Viperion's melody. If the target is constantly paying attention to the music, they will enter in a trance and will not be able to move. I wanted to make this brief and not drag this information out like I usually do, but Ryuko and Viperion have the same role in my rewrite. But a little context first. In my first redesign video, I stated that certain characters will be able to keep their Miraculous permanently, but I inferred it to be when Marinette is the guardian of the Miracle Box. But after a lot of consideration, Marinette would not become the guardian in my rewrite. Based on how the story is going and the ending I have planned, I don't see the point in making Marinette the guardian. Master Fu would continue being the guardian and would help our heroes instead of leaving them responsible for the mess he started. So what does that have to do with Ryuko and Viperion? Kagami and Luka will both be handed their Miraculous privately by Master Fu. So Ladybug and Cat Noir would not be aware of Ryuko's and Viperion's identities. Master Fu trains the two secretly and helps them prepare for any possible situation where Ladybug or Cat Noir fails. The two are basically the second in command if something happens to our main heroes. Of course, this is discussed and made aware of to Cat Noir and Ladybug. Kagami and Luka do not keep the Miraculous permanently for safety measures. The two are aware of their identities, though they try not to interact outside of training. Ryuko and Viperion help Ladybug and Cat Noir if the battle requires their skill. If they are not needed, they simply will not show. These two remain in the shadows and try their best not to be out and about while transformed. They wouldn't want Hawkmoth to have the opportunity to learn anything about them, especially because they are so vital. This is the final look for Kagami, Ryuko, Luka, and Viperion. I adored these designs so much and I had a fun time coming up with them. I hope I gave Luka and Kagami the justice they deserve and brought more insight on their characters. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and comment down your thoughts below. I love reading your comments and the juicy discussions. Also, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you won't miss when I post another video. As I said before, the art from this video will be posted on my Instagram along with updates and sneak peeks for upcoming videos. So go ahead and give me a follow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.